Welcome to the Happiness Drive Success podcast, brought to you by Motivate Coaching, the multidiscipline practice for extraordinary people. Here, we discuss finding your happiness and how you can use it to drive your success. Please welcome your host, co-founder, CEO, and master of discovering happiness, Stuart Isham Fairbairns. Hello, wonderful, beautiful, happy people out there. How are we today? It's another beautiful day here in South Africa. Had a fantastic hike with my son Harlow this morning. And my son, as if I haven't explained before, is in fact a golden retriever. And we go out for a hour-and-a-half long walk every morning together, which is fantastic. Gives me lots of time to think about life, what I'm going to do in my day, think about you guys, my tribe out there, this beautiful tribe of motivated people. And then I also think about what I want to chat to you guys about and, what can I bring? And I really do welcome questions from you guys. If you've got a topic or a thought you'd like to cover, you can go to the Motivate website. Again, that's motivate-coaching.com. And in the menu there, you'll see there's a podcast section. And if you go in there, you can actually submit a topic that you would like to be discussed in the podcast. And who knows, depending on how wonderful it is and how relevant it is, and we may want more and may ask to actually for you to be interviewed and so you can talk about your views. Don't worry, we're not going to force you to do that. It's just if you want to. But it's just lovely that we have this place that we can chat and share together. So today's focus is not easier, just stronger. So we did discuss about this. We talked about this in the previous episode, talking about how things don't get easier, we get stronger. It's all about building those muscles, about those bundles of habits, those good things we talked about in the last episode. What I want to go into is something I mentioned I would discuss in this episode, is life balance and the 8 different areas of our lives that we are running consistently all the time. What we don't necessarily do often is intentionally sort of pay attention to them to ensure that we're giving as much effort into these areas of our lives. If we do give focus to these areas of our lives and we spend time making sure that we fit it in, we will be happier. You will find more purpose, you'll feel better about life because you're going to have a more balanced experience in life. Now, it's not that you must now do lots of work. You're doing these things anyway. It's just how you approach them. If you're intentional about how you approach them, you think about how you want to communicate or how you want to act, it can be very powerful. So the areas of life that we're going to look at are, okay, so let's actually do an exercise together as we go here. Grab a piece of paper and grab a pen or a pencil or a crayon, whatever floats your boat. No judgment here, folks. So grab your piece of paper and I want you to write down each of these areas I'm going to say now. There's 8 of them. Now, if you depending on how your mind works, you might want an Excel spreadsheet or you might want a big piece of paper you can scribble on. It's really up to you. So you're going to write down these 8 areas and then you're going to rate yourself out of 10, so 1 to 10. And you're going to be very honest with your rating, okay? And I want you to just, when I talk about the title, I want you to just go with the number that comes to your mind and just write that number down, okay? So we'll start with finance. The great number, there's one where I don't know about you, but I immediately feel like, oh gosh, going to be a low number here. But I don't know how you guys might feel. It might be much higher, which is great and good on you if it is. So finance, give yourself a rating out of 1 to 10. Next one, personal growth. So how are you with personal growth in your life? 1 to 10. Health. So how is your health? Is your health good? Is it bad? Middling? Where is it at? So 1 to 10 again. Family. So how's your family life? Again, 1 to 10. Relationships, so this is when I say relationships, it means romantic relationships or partnerships. Again, 1 to 10. Now we've got social life, or I prefer the word connections. So you're meeting new people or hanging out with people you know. Do you have good connections there? And then frame of mind, so your attitude towards life. Give yourself 1 to 10 rating. And then the final one is career. So in your work, in what it is that you do, give yourself a 1 to 10. So now that you've given yourself those numbers, you've got that rating, what you're going to have a look at is, okay, so let's just take one as an example here. Let's say we go for social life and I give myself a 3. The reason I give myself a 3, so that's the next question. Okay, cool. I instinctively gave myself a 3. So my next question as a coach would be, okay, interesting. So what motivated you? What was your thinking when you gave yourself that 3 within social life? So, okay, well, I gave myself that 3 because I don't have that many friends. I don't go out much, and I really don't, I don't feel as though I've got a big network, and so many other people I know have just got this huge network of friends, and they're so popular, and like when we go out to parties, they're like running the party, like the spotlight's on them, and everyone loves them, and it's fantastic, and it's so cool, but that's just not, it's not what I've got, it's not what I do. Okay, well, that's interesting. So, what would you say your definition of social life or connection is? So from what we've just heard from that particular answer is that it's about popularity, it's about confidence, it's about what may well be a specific personality type. Now, we get people on a massive spectrum from introversion to extroversion. So you get very introverted people and extroverted people. So some people are going to jump up on the table at a party and bounce around like crazy loons. Other people are going to, well, firstly, probably not go to the party, and they'll be quite happy at home with a book, cup of tea, and that might be a lot of us. And often we may not admit to ourselves that's what we'd rather do, and then we go to the party. In fact, I mentioned in the previous episode that I'm what they call an introverted extrovert, which means I'm quite happy to stand in front of a huge crowd of people and deliver a presentation. But when I'm going out to dinner, if the plans are cancelled last minute, I'm secretly relieved. So it's perfectly understandable. The point is, when we look at any of these 8 areas of our lives, each of us will rate ourselves differently. And yes, that's because we have different abilities or different knowledge, wisdom, experience within these areas, but also our definitions of them will vary massively. And a lot of it comes down to our experience in the world, our emotional state, how we approach things. So it's quite interesting so have a look at what you've rated yourself within these 8 different sections out of 10. Now, if you were to have a look at it and say to yourself, okay, so what is my definition? When I made this score, what was I thinking about my career? Or how was I defining career? Interesting. So have a look at that. Then you can ask yourself, so you gave yourself a 5 out of 10 for career because you'd actually rather be doing much better. Now you can ask yourself, okay, so if I was to improve this 5, let's say take it 1 notch, I was to move from 5 to 6, what would I need to do that? What's the one thing I could do to go from 5 to 6? Well, the first thing we need to go back to is the definition of why you gave yourself that mark, that score. Now, it could be in career. I'm giving another example here. Let's say there was a promotion that was up for grabs, and it was you and someone else, Maria, who was up for the promotion, and only one of you was going to get it. And then come the time after you working your hiney off and pushing and pushing and pushing, you then end up not getting it, and it goes to her. And in that moment, you feel as though you're not doing well in your career. Now that is a circumstance. It's an instance. It's something that's happening at the moment. So someone else might have looked at the career and looked at their entire life. They might have looked at their college career. They might have looked at their entire career from when they started work at 18, 21, up until whatever age you are now. It really depends on your own psychology, how you define and determine your score on each area of your life. So it's not for anybody to tell you how you can improve this score. It's for you to investigate and have a look at. And that's incredibly powerful. And it really does empower you to be able to work out how you can move forward in these different areas. Now, there might be some areas here where you need help because it's not a forte of yours. For example, for me, finance is, obviously, finance I can do because, you need to survive in this world. But it's not something that I'm, flip head over heels for. So I bring in help. I get someone who does flip head over heels when they see numbers in an Excel spreadsheet and just wants to get stuck in. That's just not me. Although I do love Excel, let's be honest. Who doesn't? But so that it's okay to ask for help, and that's the next part of this process, is that we don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know everything. It's impossible. So finding resources that work for you, that allow you to be able to grow and develop. Now, also, in saying that, the definitions, as much as the definitions of these things are different for each person, within ourselves, over time, that score will fluctuate. It's not a matter of us just trying to get to 10 and then going, oh, cool, everybody, down tools, we've made it. Let's get a pina colada and go to the beach. That's not what we're going for here. It's a consistently evolving thing throughout the entirety of your life. And all of these things are effectively relationships. It's your relationship with your career, your finance, your personal growth, your health, your family, your romantic relationships, your social life or connections, or your frame of mind and attitude, so with yourself. You get all of these things and you intentionally spend some time each day focusing on how to better your career. It might be that you spend, you listen to a podcast per day. You might be doing it right now. And this could be about your personal growth or your frame of mind is why you're listening to the Motivate Coaching podcast. It could be that you want to improve your social life, your relationships, family, whatever aspect or area of your life it is. Actively put something within your day, within your week, that helps you move forward in that. Now, the purpose of that exercise is, yes, it will help you learn more and give you more tools and ability to achieve more, but it's also going to make you feel fantastic because firstly, you're doing something about it, and secondly, you can see yourself moving forwards. So this is where we go back into the importance of goal setting. So it's okay in the life balance worksheet that we're going through at the moment. The goal is to get from 5 to 6 within career. But if we were to look at let's make it less numerical and more ethereal, and it was a I want to get the next promotion that comes along, and what is it you need to do to make sure that you're front and center to get that? Because remember, the reason that you're at work and doing what you're doing is not to serve the people that you work for. It's to get out of it what you need to get out of it, which is your salary, but also to do the job to the best that you can, of course, and serve your clients or the work that it is that you do. But it's about your career and your development. If you're not happy, if you're not passionate, if you're not invested, you're not going to be doing a good job, and those promotions will keep passing you time and time again. So the chances are, if things like that are happening, whether it's relationships and you're not finding a partner, whether it's career and promotions are going past you, whether it's finance and you just constantly find yourself in debt, there is a behavior that you are performing in your life that is causing that pattern. And it's something for you to have a look at. So a way to do that is to go back through that entire process of identifying why you scored yourself, what you scored, and what it is you could do to improve that score. I hope that was simple enough to digest. So again, we look at healthy habits. So let's say we do identify what needs to be done within the career area of your life, or let's go to another area. Let's say health. You need to you identify something you could do with more physical movement in your life. I don't know about you guys, but always throughout my life, I've thought that when it comes to health, I've either got to only eat porridge and cardboard, and I've got to work out 5 hours a day, or there's no point. And that's a bit extreme, but I think you get my point. Is that I make these mountains out of these molehills, like to be ripped and have a great body and be really healthy. Like that'd be amazing. We all want that, don't we? But it's not as easy as we would like to believe it is. However, it's also not as hard, and we make it so much more complicated. We make the barrier to entry so much harder. We talked about barriers to entry a little bit in the previous episode, talking about reducing the barriers to entry. But when it comes to we have these sort of deep-seated psychological barriers that stop us from moving into doing some exercise. Like going to the gym is going to be this massive, painful exercise, when actually it doesn't need to be. For me, what I do is bringing in healthy habits. I love walking. So as I mentioned earlier, I walk Harlow every morning for an hour and a half. So that started off with me just doing that. And let's be honest, it took some effort to start with. They say it takes 21 days to form a habit. There was an aeroplane going past. They say it takes 21 days to form a habit. That is all fine and well, but getting through those 21 days can be quite a challenge. So again, what we want to do is make the deal sweet for ourselves. So for every hour and a half that I go walking, and that has now actually evolved into adding press-ups into it. So I now do 50 press-ups every morning with my hour and a half walk, which just started off as an hour and a half walk. So that's great. Well, actually started off as a half an hour walk, and then I increased it. With that, can make the deal sweet. So you'd say, okay, if I do my hour and a half walk and I do my 50 press-ups, I'm then allow myself to have an espresso because I love coffee, and I can sit at a cafe and I can do some people watching, and I give myself half an hour to do that. And by giving myself that gift, it really incentivizes me to get that get that exercise done, to really push that goal and make sure it happens. This is when, in the last episode, we also talked about the valley of despair, when you're in that U shape and you're at the bottom there, and ways to get ourselves out of that this is another one of those techniques that on a short-term basis, we can really keep ourselves motivated. So another good one that I adopted was not the espresso and the watching people, actually. It was more, what I did was I had a cheat night. So I was doing my exercise, and then I was also trying to eat better. So I've actually recently started doing intermittent fasting, which sounds a lot more hectic than it is. It's really not that scary at all. It's great. I'd recommend you have a look it up. Obviously, if you have medical situations, make sure you check with your doctor first, but otherwise. And I had a cheat night. So if I did 6 days constantly of exercise, of doing my walk and my press-ups, I was on the 7th night, I was allowed to have a pizza night, which is fantastic. Homemade pizzas. I love making pizzas at home. So for myself and my family, we'd make pizzas, and it would just be a really fun time. And I would look forward to that. So every time I was walking and I needed that incentive, I would think about the pizza night, and it'd be great. We've actually slowed down on the pizza night, and that's not because of any other reason other than I no longer need the incentive. I now really desire the walk in the morning and my press-ups, and it's now sort of set me up. And I'm not the kind of person that was really kind of established these kind of habits previously, but it's really is fantastic. And it starts off with just doing little bits every day. So look at your life balance worksheet, work out how you can go one point or 2 points further up. How can you get closer to 10? What improvement, what can you do with intention? And then just do a little bit of that each day. I'm also going to share with you guys, I've got some day planners that I put together for myself, which I find work very well. And I've also got week planners as well, which really just kind of help keep you on track. So what you do is the night before for the next day is sit down and just write out what it is you'd like to achieve on that day. And that can also, it includes these 8 areas of your life. So within 1 hour, you should be able to do what's needed to be done for these 8 areas of your life. It's not about mammoth tasks. It's not about going for a walk for an hour and a half. That's just what I've chosen. And every day we need to make it sustainable for ourselves, because the way you approach things is different to how I approach things, to him, to her, to everybody. So it needs to be done your way. So don't set yourself up for failure, because then that's likely when we get into a negative thought cycle and we can't really motivate and move forwards, and then we start to see the scores dropping in various areas of our lives. So take some control, build the habit. So also bear in mind that it doesn't get easier, we get stronger. It's really important, folks. So much like my walk, it hasn't got easier. It's exactly the same walk. It takes exactly the same amount of energy, but it's got easier, both physically and psychologically, because I've done it over and over and over again, and it's become a habit. So it's like learning to juggle. No doubt you've heard the saying, neurons that fire together wire together. And this is actually incredibly true. And within our brains, if you imagine you've got maps of neurons, the more we do something and we create a pathway between the neurons, the more those neurons communicate with each other, the more they wire together. So in the world of juggling, when you first pick up the juggling balls, you just kind of throw them and they go flying over your shoulders and disappear behind you somewhere. But every day when you teach your hands that repetitive movement, you start to find that you no longer need to think about it. It's like driving as well. It's that you just, you do it without thinking. So over time, the more and more and more you practice it, the better and better you get at it. And every single one of us can relate to that. There's something in your life, whether it be driving, juggling, riding a bike, peeling a banana, whatever it may be, you've got very good at it over time because you've done it many times. And the reason why is because these neuron pathways that you've been utilizing have wired together a much faster stream for electrical impulses to pass down. So thus the physical reactions are much quicker. So this is a really cool way for you to be able to pick up your habits and to really, and to turn something from difficult into easy. But I think it's really important to appreciate the fact, and as I said at the start of this, is that it's not that it becomes easier, it's that you get stronger. So it's going to be difficult. There's going to be hard times. It might feel some days you just don't want to. And if you do slip, that's okay. You're allowed to slip once. but not slip. You need to be accountable to yourself. So again, when you feel like you're slipping, focus back on those incentives that you put in place. And if that incentive's not working, put another one in place. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. You're a human being. We're fallible. We make mistakes. But the more that you focus on living intentionally, and you really focus on these areas of your life, and you do what you can to improve your life, the possibilities are endless, folks. It's so exciting. I can't tell you what this year, 2020, has done for me. I have done a lot of self-study, a lot of personal growth. I've really focused on these areas of my life and really scrutinized what I'm doing with my life. And it's brought me to this moment right now, talking with you. It has changed my entire outlook on life. The vision that I have in the world is massive. And I can tell you for some time I felt a bit blinkered and lost and not quite sure where I'm going. And it made me feel all sorts of different emotions. And it made me start to become negative in my daily behaviors. And that's not how I wanted to be. And it's not that it's happened overnight. It's been intentional practice over and over and over. And I can't tell you how many tools I've gone through. And something that my coach has mentioned to me on many occasions is that you need to go through all of these different tools until you find the ones that resonate with you. So just because something works for me doesn't mean it will work for you. So again, these day sheets, these day planners and week planners that I've put together, I put them together in the construct that works for me. That's how it's been born. It's just like trying a bit, adding a bit, taking a bit out, making it different. And it's got to a stage now where I find it a really useful tool. So take tools that you see, and if one part works for you, use that part. Design your own tools. Where do you think tools came from in the first place? Somebody thought, we need this solution, we need this plan here, we need a structure, and they slowly developed the tool, and before you know it, bingo bango. And that's how a lot of the things that we do on a daily basis have been established, by curious people who are motivated to find a solution for themselves and others. So, get on with it. Do it. Get stuck in. Get motivated. So focus on you. Focus with intention. Do it right now. Get stuck in. Keep it simple. Go back to your life balance worksheet. If you didn't get a chance to write that down, if you go onto the website, again, www.motivate-coaching.com, and you go to the podcast section on the menu, then you can find these worksheets there and you can plot it out yourself. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to email them through. Please feel free to get in touch. If there are any topics that you would like us to discuss, please, by all means, send a message through. Again, on the contact sheet on the website, you can send a message on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, we're all over the place. And we will obviously take everything into consideration, and we will look at how we can work together, because this is us working together. We're a community, we're a tribe, and together we can achieve so much more. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Folks, have a top banana day. I'm so proud to be a part of this tribe, and I can't wait till the next episode. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Top banana, the toppest, bananarist day. Cheers, guys. Thanks so much for listening. If you're interested in learning more, go to the Motivate website at www.motivate-coaching.com. If you'd like to get in touch with Stuart directly, you can get him at Stuart, spelled Stuart, at motivate-coaching.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and remember, your happiness drives your success. See you next time, folks.